Nestled in the heart of Tuscany lies one of Prada's main engine rooms, the shoe factory. Here, sketches become reality as workers manufacture some 2,500 shoes a day. Back in Milan, creative meets corporate as Miuccia Prada and her husband Patrizio Bertelli discuss designs.
Let me explain. My wife and I do this job because we have fun with it. We owe nothing to anyone. We love the product strategy, the market strategy, and we aspire to be always the first and the best on offer. That's all that matters.
Prada employs some 7,000 people worldwide, and last year turnover topped $2 billion. But the company is still in debt, after buying and then mainly selling several leading brands. You built up Prada from a luggage company, a very successful luggage company, but you've turned it into this massive, fashion empire now. How hard was that to do?
I never had, or me or my husband never had the idea that we really had to do something big. It just working, you want always to do your best, and you want to do this and you want to do that, and so automatically it became big. And now the fact that it's big, I think is very interesting, because you really can confront your work with so many people, so many women around the world, and understand what is the difference between an American and a Japanese or a German woman. For me, as a designer, is very, very interesting.
Obviously, things today are, a far cry from when you first started out Prada. And your first collection was not particularly well received.
No.
What do you remember of that time?
I remember that W said that it was the Jackson meet the Flintstone. And for me, it was the biggest compliment. For them, of course, was an insult. But after, because I think that one thing that I did in my work is to go back to different eras. And in art is called appropriation, and it was something that happened in the 80s, and I think I was the first to do it. But at the beginning, it was only not even thinkable, so it was difficult. But after, it is still now on fashion, that kind of retro stuff. That is one of the things that I think I did.
So you weren't angry at the people that said Jackson?
No, I was not happy. I was not happy, but I believed in what I was doing, and anyway, I can only do what I can do. So.
Your husband, Patrizio Bertelli, was also instrumental in helping build Prada into what it is today, but you're very famous for having an extremely fiery relationship. And, you've got to work together, and then you've got to go home together after a massive fight. How can you stand it?
That is really exaggerated, because the fact that I'm still married means that it's not so bad. And that is his character. But people respect him a lot because he's very generous, very honest, and more or less he's always right. So when you...
Really? You agree that your husband is always right?
Yes, deeply yes. He exaggerates the concept, but he's deeply right. Also because he touches the point that you are more sensible, so he goes really deep at the point, so that's why you get upset. Because very often he's right.
Do you always make up?
What does it mean, make up? Making peace?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, of course, otherwise we wouldn't be together still.
In the early 1990s was when Prada really exploded into the general public consciousness with, of course, the black nylon bag with that the triangle Prada branding. Did you have any idea how huge that one piece would be?
No, because again, when I started, I remember that we did the first presentation and it was totally unsuccessful, except few people, but the right ones. So we always had at the beginning the support of the right people. It was difficult to be digested. Also, it was very difficult to be produced because no one ever was able to work with that kind of fabric, and it was much more expensive than working with leather. And I always wanted to do something that was nearly impossible.
Do you ever examine why the public likes a certain thing?
it's so difficult that what I think that I have to like it, and until I am obviously in relation with people's minds because of my interest in people, because my interest in culture and what people think in general.
In the 1990s, you and your husband went on a sort of an acquisition spree, buying up Azzedine Alaïa and Jules Sander and Helmut Lang. Those acquisitions didn't really seem to have worked out the way that you might have intended, but they were at great expense. Now, reportedly, Prada is in debt. Are you worried?
You know, I should be worried, but at the end, we are not, because still we can go to the stock market. We are reducing them, and of course somebody criticized that moment, but that moment everybody wanted to do acquisition, and it was part of our job, and you have to live your moment, so that was part of the moment. They were great designers, that's why